Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Daniel Gormally. I'm a chess grandmaster currently living in Alnwick in Northumberland. Today I want to talk about a little bit about my course, a bit more about my course because it's been released now for nearly a week, and although the sales are okay, they're not as good as I would have hoped. So I really want to talk a little bit about why that is and what people have said on the forums in regard to the course. Outsmart the French defence with the trench knights of Tarash. Avoid the locked positions, weak pawns, and everything you hate about the French. Dig in with your knights this way. So no matter how the game opens up, you're in prime position to seize the advantage. Yeah, not sure who wrote this. Maybe they should have asked me to write this. But anyway, don't want to insult anyone. Yeah, very kind. And they mentioned that I've racked up podium finish. I think I mentioned that. I just want to show you the control panel, what the sales are. Right, see sales. So it's made me $1,946, right? Since the course has been released. So it got released last Friday, and it's obviously made decent money since then. Now that sounds really, really good. However, it should be mentioned that generally speaking, the best sales are at the start. Now there might be boosts in the future when there's it's put on a sale. Round about Black Friday, Christmas time, that sort of thing. That's probably going to get a little boost. But I think the problem is, and this is alluded to. So this is what I make, by the way, Chessable, and which comes under possibly the chess.com umbrella. I'm not sure. Have made more because they get 60% of what the course makes. I get about 40%. So that's good. They made good money. By the way, I won't get that when you get the first payment, which will be about a month and a half, 2 months time, or whenever it is. You generally get paid the first couple of months, and then you get paid every month after that. So you're always looking, have I made any sales? Can I expect a nice little payday? It's not enough to sustain you, because that obviously, if you made it every month, then it would sustain you in theory. But the problem is obviously the sales drop off over time. So I'm not going to be making like $2,000 a month, $2,000 a month for the next year. That's just not going to happen. Most of the sales are going to be from the start. They were kind enough to send me, Chessable were kind enough to send me a desktop computer. So I have to take that off the advance. So that's as an advance, right? So I have to take that off the total. So that's that will cost me about 850 quid, I think, plus the recording equipment, which is about £300. So it's about 1150 that has to come off. So it's, I think, $1,900, 1946 is close to 1,600 quid. So it's about 1150 pounds. So I'll probably make about 450 quid. Now, given that I'd spent about several months writing the course, and obviously there's the bin men are outside, by the way, in case you're wondering what the noise is. Several months writing the course and so on. Then and obviously filming the course as well. That's not that great, obviously, to make 450 quid. You'd be very disappointed if you spent several months writing a chess book, for example. You'd be very disappointed writing that and then only getting 450 quid. However, also bear in mind that obviously I got the computer out of it, so essentially it is $1,900, right? So it's $1,900 that I made, but it also will sell more in future. So generally over time, Chessable courses will sustain, in my experience. The problem is that if I go back to the course itself, so let me go back to the course. how do I get to the course, right? So there's been some discussion on the course itself. So the course itself has its own forums, right? And yeah, a lot of people, it's very kind that people have made comments about the course and suggested possible improvements. So, for example, one of them is concerning mistakes. And Chess922 mentioned how I've made a mistake. You know, I hadn't checked it with an engine. So, generally speaking, with most of the variations in the course, they have been engine checked, I think. Because, you know, when you're writing a course or writing a video or, when you're sort of like, you're writing a chess book, you generally have the engine on the background. The engine's telling you a lot of lines. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. So obviously, on that particular variation that the guy has mentioned, I didn't do the engine check. I tried to do my own analysis. When I try to do my own analysis, it's obviously rubbish. Now, obviously, the conscientious way to do it is possibly to do your own analysis and then check with an engine at the end. I think most authors now, they basically they just write with the engine, right? They don't even bother to like do their own analysis. They just write with the engine, and then, you know, and then if they forgot to write with the engine, they'll check with the engine afterwards anyway. So a lot of it's laziness, right? But I've tried to do my own analysis there, and the guys picked up on it. And the problem with Chessable, when you're making that mistake in Chessable, is that somebody can potentially look at that and say, well, look, this was a trainable variation that you've got completely wrong, right? It's a trainable variation, and it's not like a chess book where you leave a comment. That's bad enough. If you leave a comment, you say, look, play this variation. Someone plays it in a tournament game, they lose with it. You're learning something that's complete rubbish, and you know you're learning it by rote. You're taking it to a tournament game, and potentially, yeah. So one of the people that was involved with the production of the course, Rock Novak, lovely guy, I believe he's from Netherlands as well. He picked up on that mistake. So obviously that's very diligent from him. Let's look at some of the other stuff. So differences in the French tarot course. So Roy van der Velk, so somebody else from the Netherlands. He mentioned these other courses, the harmonious French tarot, trample the French. There are actually more courses for white that cover the French tarot. Probably most advanced is Lifetime Repertoires, Wesley So's E4 Part 2, which dedicates 670 lines to it. Is that the lines or variations? Because according to this forum, my course is only 150, even though that's a whole. So Wesley So's must be really in detail. And he obviously did a video course on it as well, I would imagine. Shows, you know, the level you need to get sort of 2700 plus, right? What I mentioned below, yes, there probably isn't much difference. I'm not aware of these courses. I tried to write my own course from fresh. I thought it would be better that way without spending a lot of time worrying about how I'd compare to others. As I think I explained elsewhere, and Antares 344 was kind enough to repost, I spent a lot of time playing training games, etc. I've also a lot of practical tournament experience of playing the white side on 392 French. I think that's a point worth making. There's a lot of authors out there, I'm not going to name names, that don't play tournaments. You know, I've always found it impossible, like how these people write about chess when they never play tournament games, right? I always find it much easier writing about my own games. I can talk about the psychology. I know I can remember the variations. I know what was involved during the game. You know, how these people can still write stuff is beyond me. But I do think it's an advantage to be an active tournament player. Yeah, so somebody mentioned about the length of the videos. So somebody, you get very kind people on Chessable, like Thomas Rose said, thank you for explaining your approach and motivation in such detail, and thank you for your tireless efforts. I will at least give it a chance. Thank you, Roy. Yeah, but he does mention that it's quite a long video course. and I think it is, but I try to be methodical, because when I did the video course before, I realised I skirted through material too quickly. And, you know, so maybe I went to the other extreme this time. You know, I wasn't trying to rush. It was important that I wasn't trying to rush, and I was trying to say, look, this is the most important moment. Every moment of the video course, this is the most important moment of my life. This is the most important variation I'll ever see it ever again. Rather than going boom, 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 you do that, right? Because I don't think that helps amateur players to improve. I think a lot of the time they need that kind of instruction, because that's why you buy the video course, right? So maybe I'm creating a new trend on Chessable, like really long and tedious video courses, right? But it's not tedious, because I try to sort of like break it up. I do funny voices, I sort of, you know, I mention interesting anecdotes, which probably does make the video course longer. But the other thing I should mention as well is broken up into chapters. So it's not like you have to watch 20 hours all in a row. There's several chapters which go into great detail about that particular variation. So if you're unsure on a particular line of that course, you can then go into that chapter. You might not have to go through every single chapter, or you might see a couple of chapters, and then like a week or a month later, you go and have a look at some of the other chapters. That might be a better way to go about looking at the course. Les Paul mentions you cover the entire Groomfield in less than 10 hours. He also mentions he skipped the quick start. The quick starter is there for people who don't want to watch the whole video, and they just want the quick starter which shows all the lines. But he likes the course. So what I will do is I will create a forum post to say, look, I want people to give reviews, because so far no one's left a review of the course. I think if you leave reviews, that's going to help, you know, the algorithm to promote the course, right? It's all good. In my opinion, I think there's a few authors on Chessable who do really, really well. Now, he mentions later on that I should do a Caro-Kann course, but I'm thinking, you know, will I do another Chessable course now? Because the amount of effort I put in, I think there's other authors who do better than I do. So maybe it's worth me investing the time in social media to bump up that side of it. And then maybe later on come back and do like another Chessable course. I do think you have to have a very unique idea. Part of the problem with Chessable is it's a victim of its own success. It's not a problem, but you need to have a very unique and very good idea, or you need to be a big seller. You need to be like a sort of content creator who is potentially going to sell really well. Like obviously if a Levi Rosnum comes in and does a Chessable course, he's going to do incredibly well. He probably doesn't need to do a Chessable course. I think maybe has he done a Chessable course? Possibly, I'm not sure. Obviously you have people like Selecki on there who do really good numbers. Obviously you're looking at Arthur Yusupov, who's doing really good numbers. Probably this guy Costa is doing good numbers. My friend Simon. You know, I want to do their sort of numbers, because I'm a competitive person. I'm a highly competitive. It annoys me to do it. Okay, Magnus I wouldn't compare myself to, because he's, you know, the best player in the world, right? But everybody else, I feel like I shouldn't necessarily do worse numbers than they're doing, right? So yeah, how do you get to that? How do you get to their numbers where they're potentially making 20, 30,000? I don't know what they're making, but they're possibly making 20, 30,000 euros from a course in 1 year, right? That might be an exaggeration. I don't know. Maybe leave your comments down below. Are you have you created a Chessable course yourself? Do you know what the numbers are? Yeah, I'll be interested to know, because we're not told what the numbers are, you know, as course creators. I mean, all I know is that some of my courses have done pretty well. You know, the first course I did really well. It's made over $20,000, I believe, which is pretty good money, isn't it? Right? It's a lot more than I've ever made from a chess book, apart from maybe Making the Castle King, but that was partly because Making Castle King got translated into Chinese, and it also got made into a Chessable course. So, the numbers on Chessable are much higher than what you can potentially make from a chess book these days, if I'm honest. And when I speak to a lot of publishers, they don't like Chessable, and I think they're partly embittered because the numbers that Chessable are putting up is far beyond what they're making. And in my opinion, so that's luring authors away from potentially creating chess books. So, well, why do I want to spend 3 months writing a chess book when I could spend 3 months writing a Chessable course and make a lot more money? If I'm going to make 4 times the amount, if I'm going to invest that time, if I'm going to spend 3 months writing a chess book, I might as well spend 3 months writing a Chessable course, because I'm going to make 4 times the amount of money. It's not rocket science, is it? So even if you're not necessarily a huge seller on Chessable like myself, you're probably going to make more from a Chessable course than you're going to make from an actual chess book, right? If you wrote a chess book on the same subject. So anyway, in my opinion, the challenge for Chessable over the next few years is attracting new people into Chessable, because they seem to have their established user base. That's great. There's people that are coming back to Chessable, and they probably have like these hardened users who always buy courses and so on. However, if you're releasing new courses all the time, a lot of these people already have courses on the same subject. So therefore, if they can attract new people into Chessable, they're potentially buying these new courses because they don't have the old courses, right? And then once they brought the new courses, they might actually also decide, well, I want to buy the old courses as well, right? So I think that's the challenge, not just for Chessable, but also for chess.com. I saw something the other day on Reddit about how you should close your chess.com account. One thing I should say with chess.com, use Lichess. Well, Lichess is free, but the people running it presumably have money, or or they don't care about money or whatever. That's great. But the point is that Chessable, Chessable as well, but chess.com employ a lot of people. And they also run an affiliate program for streamers, which supports streamers. So if you're a professional chess player like me, you're dependent on sites like Chessable, like chess.com to support you. I can't play tournaments without sites like Chessable, because how can I afford to go away and play? I played Citages last year. Well, that was partly based on the profits I was making from Chessable. Could help me support that, right? I couldn't support that lifestyle without sites like Chessable. So Chessable have been very useful. Yes, I would like to get better sales from Chessable. That's why I'm kind of, I don't really want to do another course right now for Chessable or write another chess book, because I feel like it's a lot of work without necessarily getting the huge sales that I would do if I had a bigger social media following. So it seems to me like it's probably worth more time investing time in building up social media, and then potentially writing a course, because or maybe going on another kind of expedition in life. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Leave your comments down below about what you think about the whole Chessable experience.